A former funeral director asked for another delay today in the case against him as he considers a plea agreement on the table.
Miles Harford is the one accused of abuse of a corpse and theft. The charges came after police discovered a woman's body decaying in a broken-down hearse and several boxes of cremated remains scattered around a home that he was being evicted from last year. 9 News consumer investigator Steve Steger has been following this case from the outset. Steve, you were there in court this morning, an unremarkable hearing, but it did have a rather remarkable moment.
Yeah, we watched as the husband of the woman who was found in that hearse sat down in the courtroom next to Miles Harford and spoke to him for several minutes before the hearing started. In the end, Miles Harford's attorney asked the judge for a continuance of this case into mid-April. The former funeral director showed up in person in court this morning. In the past, he's appeared by video. Harford is facing 11 counts, including abuse of a corpse, forgery, and theft. During an eviction in February of last year, police say they found the cremated remains of at least 30 people inside the home and Christina Rosales' body in a broken-down hearse in the backyard. Police believe she'd been there for a year and a half and that Harford gave her family someone else's remains. This morning, her husband, George, sat down right next to Harford in the courtroom. Outside, I asked him what the two talked about.
After a little while, I told him, you know, I do forgive you for what you've done. But I'm glad that you're a man and standing up for your crimes and you're facing justice. He thanked me for my responses. He's like, okay, I appreciate it.
I asked Rosales this morning about what he would think about a potential plea deal in this case. He says, knowing Harford had no previous criminal record before, and that he showed remorse, at least to him this morning, that he feels a deal would be sufficient. Again, we've only heard both sides mention the possibility of a plea deal during the last couple of court hearings, and we have yet to learn what the details of any deal might be. Harford due back in court, by the way, on April 14th. Live in the studio, Steve Steger, 9 News.
As you said, that's remarkable, that conversation. Was it, do you think, intentional that he sat next to Miles Harford?
It was. He said he had been thinking about it for quite a while. He saw the opportunity this morning when he walked into the courtroom. We had wondered maybe he didn't recognize who Miles Harford was. He knew exactly who he was and said he sat down there for a reason, wanted to talk about Christina Rosales. Now, Miles Harford and Christina Rosales knew each other earlier on. Christina used to work at the school where Miles Harford went as a child and was a lunch lady in that cafeteria. So they knew each other before this. They talked a bit about that. He said they talked a bit about the crime. And he said, once again, he forgives him.
Another interesting chapter and quite a story. All right, Steve, thanks.